My first ever offshore race. Would it be how I dreamed? Heeled over to one side, sailing into the sunset, close racing against some of the finest offshore sailors in the world. But as the forecast rolled in, the question changed to, would we even finish at all? Naive optimism as someone new to sailing, this question of actually finishing had never even entered my mind. We'd had plenty of races the previous summer where we just drifted about on the faintest puffs of wind. And in the days leading up to the race, we were more concerned about the winds being too strong and whether we'd be able to get over to the start line than there being too little wind at all. But the delivery crew made it to the start line in Cowes. So we'd make it to the finish line too, right? After a spell of window shopping in Cowes and a deck walk to check out the competition, we had a quick team photo before settling in for an early night. Cheers. The next morning, while others were rigging the boat, I grabbed us all a bacon sandwich. Now you might start noticing a theme about my constant proximity to food. But yeah, they were rigging up, I jumped on board, and then, yeah, we made a beeline to the start line. From Cowes, we would head east and then south towards France. This is somewhere in the region of 110 to 160 nautical miles.
I think I got that. Can you call it on the final? They've gone way down. They've jibed.
4 minutes.
You've got the GPK coming up on you. He's going beneath you at the moment.
Yeah, I'm going to go around the back of him, okay? But we're driving as soon as we get the side.
I think you're OTS. You're over the line.
This being our first ever offshore race and not in our home waters, we decided to pick out a few boats that we wanted to keep close to in the start sequence to make sure that we got a good start.
They're down there, I told you, they're below us.
Fujitsu British Soldier is also a SunFast 3600, but it's the Army's offshore racing yacht.
That's overstrapped. You're overstrapped. Rail.
Careful all these guys. Get ready to pull then.
Yeah, we're gonna make it. We're way above it. Okay, let's get that weight out, guys.
Before we knew it, we were zigzagging our way out of the Solent and found ourselves in attacking battle with SunFast 3300 Surf.
Could go now, they've gone. Oh, bastards, they're going. Dupree, we need to get ahead of them on this tack.
Essentially, we were trying to get closer to the wind than them because we didn't want to suffer from being in their wind shadow.
Look at it. The height isn't... Oh!
Lovely. Maybe we should get that dry suit after all.
Not yet, not yet.
We've got another one ahead of us.
You're fine, wait for them to go. Ready?
No, wait. We've got one ahead of us.
He's crossing now.
No one get above him.
Oh, okay. They're gone.
guessing Ikigai are going to shit on the tip.
Going for a coat, all right?
A few hours into the race, the intensity calmed down a little bit, and the rail chat turned to some not quite so performance-focused topics.
Oh wow, look at that.
Queen Victoria's residence.
I know, I've been there, it's a cool place. Very strange though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've actually been.
You get Victor Hugo vibes. Have you ever been to Hopewell House in Guernsey? Oh right, we should do that. They remind me of each other. They're both very strange places.
So we've been going about 2.5 hours now, and we're now tending to like the most important things, like making cups of coffee. Very much need coffee because we've been up since 6 this morning, and it's been pretty intense, but we're making good headway. Key elements of the boat include the snack drawer and the fridge with an absolute ton of food, including biltong DP made.
I think it needs to go a little bit more.
A little bit longer.
Wait up! 100 miles at 4 miles an hour. 25 hours.
25 hours to go. Almost lunchtime.
Tomorrow.
The wind is dying, and we just need to try and keep ahead of it so we can actually get there. Otherwise we're going to have to abandon our race. So it's a little tense at the moment. Have you actually got the correct gloves on now?
Yes, I do.
You do?
No more TP.
Anything other than laugh will do.
And we are just about beginning of the back deck. Oh, there's a hole in the zero.
The goods?
Oh, the goods indeed.
That's about as good as it gets.
Oh my
Gosh.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, look at those. Oh my god, that's so good. Heaven on earth. We need to learn to make this.
I love South Africa.
Coriander salt.
Oh, don't mind if I do! Up until this point, we were actually doing pretty well. We were 4th in our class past No Man's Fault, and we were averaging about 5.4 knots. Not too shabby for our first offshore start. But around 11 AM, the pack just ahead of us vanished into the distance.
Those guys in front of us they were just ahead of us, and they caught the breeze. Now they're sticking with it, but there's a chance that the wind pocket will not accelerate, but move out in front of them and leave them behind as well. But inox will, that thing is just a bullet, so that's probably going to stay with the wind. They'll definitely make it. Fujitsu, they probably make it as well.
Most of our class, though, the ones probably not going to make it. Well, not anytime soon, at least. Over the next 2 hours, Tigris went from being half a nautical mile ahead to 3 nautical miles ahead, and then 12 nautical miles ahead another 2 hours later. We were getting well and truly stuffed by the wind shift. ETA, late afternoon tomorrow.
Yeah, can we helicopter in some beer?
Oh, it's a bit different doing a game.
Little bit more calm than the delivery.
Point that thing at her.
And as land vanished, so did the last of the wind.
So Ben's helming for a bit. Can you tell us about the game you're playing?
It's called Who Can Keep the VMG Positive? The answer appears to be no one.
What Ben is saying is that we're actually getting further away from the finish line rather than closer to it.
5.4 knots of breeze now, and she's a really unhappy boat in anything under 6. So, struggling.
And the tide is taking us that way, and we want to be going that way.
Yeah.
It's only negative 0.5 now.
There was a brief moment of exhilaration when the VMG hit 0, but even this was short-lived.
0.
Woo! Oh, no, it's negative again.
So while we settled in for what was becoming quite a long hop across the channel, LV found a quiet napping spot on the jib.
Negative VMG again. Not going anywhere very fast.
As the channel became a mill pond, I went down for a nap, which is where it all started to go wrong for me. I had a few hours of sleep and then I woke up to the smell of food, but warm and cozy in my bunk, I decided not to get up and just doze off for a couple more minutes. This was a huge mistake. I started getting these convulsions. I didn't even manage to get all of my foul weather gear on before I had to throw myself up the companionway so I could throw up, even managing to splatter Ben, who was trying to concentrate on helming. After that, I couldn't bring myself to go back down below in case I felt queasy again. And even though I was hungry, I didn't want to eat in case it happened again. I now know this was the wrong move. Because staying up on deck after dark, the temperature really dropped, and I couldn't regulate my body temperature well enough to keep warm. I sat on deck in a sleeping bag, wearing every layer I had brought with me, and I still was cold. I stayed up on deck for the rest of the time that I was off watch, and after that, still managed to muddle through my own watch, hoisting new sails and tacking and doing the nav just as normal. And after the watch was over, I was so tired that I did go down below and managed to fall asleep almost instantly in the watch chair, and that's sort of sleeping sitting up rather than lying down. And when I woke up, I was absolutely fine. I never usually get seasick with around the cans type stuff, so it never even crossed my mind to try and preemptively take seasickness tablets or anything like that. When I woke up and we went back on watch, the wind had come up nicely. This was my first ever experience sailing at night. We were using red head torches to try and see around the boat, and we used red instead of white so that we just didn't blind people by shining a white light in their eyes. And when we wanted to see how well the jib was trimmed, one of us had to head to the foredeck and shine a white light on the sails so we could see the telltales.
Yeah, my optimum angle has come down by 2 degrees.
Yeah, that was me doing the traveller.
A bit of sheet to be taken out of it as well.
We passed tanker after tanker lined up outside of Le Havre, waiting for either the tide or their harbour slot, luminescent dots on the horizon.
That was exactly as forecast. Daybreak, mill pond. My helm.
Is that just
It's on the power button,
Power
right hand corner.
oh, that one, yeah. Night mode, you just switch that off.
Yeah.
Cool.
jib in on the other side.
Knots of wind. Yay.
Woo!
And although the wind was dropping, nothing could take away from the glory of experiencing my first ever offshore sunrise. The wind picked up again, and we could see the towers in Le Havre growing ever larger.
Slowly getting there. Yes, we are. The end is in sight. Gosh,
So happy.
you were like fucking sick.
Sarah, Ali's wife, had printed off photos of each of the towers where the finish line was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Laminated. Was. Okay, Leo. They're going to attack us when we're over the line. I reckon we're there.
Woo! Woo! First one.
Right, cheeky tack, guys, and then we can chill.
We were one of the last boats to arrive,
Well, we got it.
but at least we finished. Most weren't so fortunate and couldn't keep ahead of the wind. Of the 46 boats that started the race, only 20 managed to finish, and we placed 19th. So we still met Ali's criteria of not fucking last. After mooring up, we enjoyed the hospitality of Le Havre Yacht Club, whose fantastic food is pretty much the main reason we're going back and doing the Cervantes? Not really sure how to say it. Cervantes Trophy in 2023. If you're interested in the story of how we get along in our future offshore races, make sure to subscribe. And if you've got any questions about the weird and wonderful world of offshore sailing, let me know in the comments if there's anything you want to know.